I fell and lost to the road.
Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel and welcome back to another speed paint video. So in this video, I'm going to be doing a full watercolor piece using Daler Rowney hot press paper. This started as just kind of a doodle that I just wanted to draw anything very quickly so that I can test out this paper with the full watercolor effect. I had already tested it around the same time with Copic markers and watercolor, but this was the one I had started where I just wanted to do straight up watercolor. I decided to draw a character that I had created a few videos back for a video that I titled Willow. I'm not sure if I'm keeping Willow as the character's name or if it was just the title of that painting, but yeah, I just wanted to draw this unicorn girl again, but I wanted to do a portrait and just see how that went. And I like this portrait a lot, but I had a lot of trouble with this drawing and I ended up having to redo it quite a few times. So even though I started this probably like a month ago, it's only just been finished now. And here you can see why. When I first started, I completed the watercolor and then I decided I absolutely hated it and there was no amount of fixing that was going to happen with the color pencil part, so I should just start over. And during the second start over, I had a lot of problems. I was trying to use a different ink and there was flow issues on the paper and it wasn't working. I made some weird straight lines that I knew I couldn't fix, so I decided to start over again. And at this point, I think this video probably has the longest sketching out of all my videos because when I decided to do it again, I took my time with the sketching. I really wanted to make sure that this would be the last time and that I would find all of the issues that would bug me later and try to fix them. I still don't think it's perfect. There's still a few issues that I wish I could have fixed, but some of it was kind of like I couldn't really reimagine it any more than that. I don't know. It's just something I go through where I kind of see it like that so much that I can't fix it anymore. And yeah, I just tried my best to fix what I could. I adjusted the eyes quite a few times. I adjusted the ears quite a few times. And I tried to make her a little bit chubbier in her back and also in her arm. So it translated properly as not just a normal sized person, but I still want her to look chubby. So while I was doing the sketching, I decided that the area next to her head was really empty and I had kind of forgotten why I had given her the pose that she has. So I decided that I wanted to put a little fairy kind of whispering to her. I don't know if she's whispering instructions or she's whispering gossip, but you can imagine what you like there. And that would kind of explain, like, maybe she's looking over her shoulder being like, oh, really? What's happening back there? I don't know, something like that. When I look back at the original sketching, I kind of remembered that she was supposed to be kind of like looking back while rushing off. And it kind of makes me wonder why I keep drawing this character in a way where she looks like she's in danger trying to run away. But maybe that's what unicorns are about, right? Because they're like super rare and they don't want to be caught. Another thing I did while I was sketching was I decided to really reference an ear because I've been drawing ears for a long time and I never really think about them, but I decided, what does an ear really look like? And it didn't look anything like what I used to draw. So yeah, I think I'm going to be trying to change that up in the future. Trying to use more reference and see what things actually look like instead of relying on the catalog in my head, which isn't always right. So I'm just trying to improve on my art slowly and see how it goes. The only other thing I was a little bit worried about was I felt like maybe the style of the fairy was slightly different from the style of the character. But I decided to just, it's all right. I already did it. I'm not redoing it just for the fairy. By the time it was on the third redo, I was really getting to a point where I just really, really wanted to be done with this drawing. So the paper behaved really well. But I'm not sure if it's the paper, but I did have a lot of flow issues with my pen tip. There was a lot of times where I put the pen to the paper and it just wasn't coming out. It would get so frustrating. I had to walk away a few times because I was just like, I wanted to scream. It was so frustrating. I kind of thought it was my nibs, but now that I look back, it could be the paper because I kind of remember having a similar problem with the other drawings. You wouldn't think it would be the paper though, because you know, it's really smooth, and that's usually what these type of pens like. So I'm not sure. I'm not an expert. I don't really know how these things work, but it's something that I'll keep in mind as I continue to use this paper and see if this is a continuing problem. Another issue I noticed the first time I used it and this time as well is it could be a hot press thing, or it could be this paper, but it's probably a hot press thing because I think I remember hearing about this, is that the watercolor does have some issue laying fully flat. I had a few areas where I had a bit of texture that I wasn't really wanting. So you have to be a bit more careful, which is slightly more stressful. This might mean that hot press paper is really not for me. Because one of the things I really like about watercolors is that you can, it's more flexible. Like, I love my Copic markers as well, but the one problem with Copic marker is that when you're laying down the ink, you have to be really careful about streaking. Like, you have to lay it down in just the right way and keep going while it's still wet to make sure that you get like a flat look, as flat as possible. And that's the one thing that I like about watercolor is you can just dab things on and it kind of levels out on its own. So if this is a problem with hot press paper where you have to be more careful with your strokes, it'll be a problem for me. I noticed in the background, the biggest problems I had with that was the skin coloring and the background. Everything else was still kind of fine. The background, I ended up having to put texture to make it look right, but that's okay because in the end, the background was like my favorite thing. I love the color I'd mix for it, and the texture looked really perfect. So throughout this drawing, because when I originally drew this character, I had used like, I think only 3 different color mixes, like colors to mix up for the general picture. I did the same thing here. I used the same base for the blue. I used a blue, a green, and a red to make all of the colors in this drawing, except for the fairy's hair, which was in Naples yellow, and of course the skin color, which is the same blue and the same red, but also with yellow ochre and red sienna added to it. So all the other colors are the same variations of the same blue, the same green, and the same red together, which I think looked really unified, and I really liked the color that I had created for the background because it was like the same mix as the blue-green that I had made, except that I added more green to it, and it looked like a really pretty aqua color. Yeah, so I'm just kind of rambling now, but I hope you guys don't mind, and I hope you like this drawing. I wanted to touch again about having to redo this drawing so many times. Like, I just find recently that I'm a little frustrated about this in my art journey. It's one of those things that I've started to notice a lot of really professional artists are talking about how they will sketch and plan an illustration many times before the finished product. And I think that's normal for professionals, but I find it very difficult for me at this point. I find that when I have to redo and plan out a drawing a lot, I get kind of a block. It makes me feel very frustrated and very unhappy, and it kind of takes this artistic edge away from things. Like, I'm used to drawing more spontaneously, and when I have to plan things out really carefully and redo them over and over again, I have this feeling of failure on my chest the whole time, and I just feel kind of unhappy, and it kind of creates a block for other works. So this is kind of maybe a bit of a growing pain in my journey right now, but at least I understand that this is a problem, and hopefully going forward I can find a solution for it. Because I do notice that when I redo the artwork, it looks so much better in the end, and I'm so much happier with it. It's just the process is really difficult for me. So while I was doing the color pencil part, I used the Prismacolor Very Thins because that's what I used the first time I did this drawing, and I wanted to go for a softer look, but I was a little bit frustrated at the amount of contrast that I could get from the hair color, and there was a point when the paper wasn't really taking any more pencil, so I couldn't get much contrast, and I had to kind of shift my focus to pulling up the highlights to get some kind of contrast. But again, like when I drew her the first time, she didn't have like deep shadows, so I figured I'd just let the character in general be lighter. And when I went to shade her skin, I did want to put some kind of shading in. I didn't want to ignore it, but I didn't like the shading I was getting with color pencil, so I erased that and went in with a bit more watercolor. And it came out a bit lighter than I expect, but I think in general it looks kind of okay for the rest of the drawing, since the rest of the drawing is all very light too. While I was doing the watercolor earlier, it was too difficult to go around the pearls, so I decided that I would go over the pearls with white gouache later. And this white gouache is an older white gouache that I have sitting in a little like lip gloss container. I just reactivated it and used my smallest brush, which I actually reserve only for gouache, to add all of the white to the pearls, and I think it actually looked really gorgeous. This gouache is a bit chalky and had a bit of flakes in it while I was trying to add it to the drawing, but I kind of like that because I think it gave like this really cool kind of texture to everything, and it made everything glow. I could have used fresh gouache so it would be more opaque, but I just really liked the look of it.
I was lost and sad to the voices in my head. I gotta get up again. I gotta get up to another day. I'm not giving up again. I gotta get up. I gotta get up. I gotta get up again. I gotta get up to another day. I'm not giving up again. I gotta get up. I gotta get up. I'm gonna get up
So yeah, that's everything, and I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you liked this drawing, and if you did, please do let me know by leaving me a comment down below and giving this video a thumbs up. If you'd like to see this drawing up close, then definitely check out my DeviantArt, where I'll be posting a scan of this drawing. You can also follow me on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. All of the links are in the video description below. And here I just wanted to show you guys a side-by-side with the original drawing to the point of the end of the watercolor and the finished third version. So it's a pretty big difference. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye!
to my eyes. My heart beats like a drum. You listen to my life.